In this video, we're gonna go over the top 5 reasons why gifted kids struggle so much and what you can do about them in order to be a little bit more stable in your day-to-day life. Let's go ahead and dive into reason number 1, which is the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, and what this means for gifted kids specifically. A lot of gifted kids, when they're growing up, develop a really unhealthy mindset when it comes to success. What happens is that the gifted kid, when they're growing up, never has to work for anything. They just naturally excel at everything that they try. They'll barely study, they'll never have to work hard, and they'll still be the best at everything they do. And what happens is when you constantly have this happening in your life, and lots of teachers, everyone around you praises you, recognizes you for being smart, even though you've done nothing to earn that praise other than just be yourself and just show up. This creates this unhealthy idea in our minds of people who are successful are just successful because they happen to be born that way. That there's people who just show up, they do well, and that's all it takes to become successful. And this mindset is extremely unhealthy because what it kind of emphasizes is that raw talent alone is enough to succeed. The problem with this mindset and this way of thinking is that in real life, this is never true. Very, very rarely do people get super lucky and have a massive amount of success without anything else but raw talent on their side. But almost always long-lasting, sustainable success comes from having both raw talent and having an amazing work ethic that allows you to put thousands of hours into one single thing. The problem with gifted kids though, is that at a certain point, right, their whole life, they've just shown up, they've done really well, and they've just shown up and they've done really well, and now they come to believe this is how the world works, right? You just show up and you do well. And then they run into their first obstacle, right? For many gifted kids, this is college, but this can be high school. This can also just be going out into the real world and being an adult. And all of a sudden, they're no longer the best just by trying, right? Maybe for the first time in college, they have to manage their own study habits, or classes are too hard for them to just coast on by. And then they start failing out of college. And then they start to think, I'm a failure. Because the thing is, again, their mind is thinking, okay, I should just show up and just be good at this naturally without even trying. But I'm showing up, I'm not even trying, and I'm not good at it, so I'm a failure, right? Because never in their life have they experienced a thing where they're not good at something the first time, and so they have to work harder in order to get better at it. This is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset assumes that whatever skills you're born with, however you're just, kind of starting out, your baseline stats are going to be kind of how you're going to end up later on down the line. And this is extremely toxic and difficult because anytime you're not good at something, which all of us are not going to be the best at something that we do on our first try. It doesn't matter who you are. Any prodigies, Albert Einstein, Bach, Beethoven, anyone out there, right? All of them had to work countless hours. Even Albert Einstein from a young age, studied really hard and was going really forward in physics for a lot of his life, contrary to popular belief. Of course, raw talent can get you very far. And for some people, the absolute 0.001% of people, raw talent will push them extremely far. But for most people who end up extremely successful, it is not raw talent. It is a combination of raw talent and hard work. And the growth mindset adopts this mentality of it doesn't matter if you're good at something or bad at something. What matters is how many hours you put into it. That's what determines your skill. Now, you do want to keep in mind, natural ability is important, and bodybuilding is a good example of this, right? With bodybuilding, not anyone can become a bodybuilder or a professional athlete, right? There are certain advantages that are going to make it a bit easier for you to do well in bodybuilding or in athletics, stuff like that. There are certain genetic things you just need, right? If you're very prone to injuries, or if you have a really bad bone condition, it might not be advisable for you to do these sports, right? But just good genetics alone is not enough. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good example. He had really good genetics. Guy was super naturally muscular from the jump, right? And had a really easy time putting on muscle. But despite that, he still had to go hours and hours every single day into the gym and work as hard as he could, to the point where he was shaking after workouts and could barely eat because of how hard he pushed himself, right? So he had that raw talent, he had that raw ability to quickly grow muscle and get really good, but he also put in hard work and long hours. So you need both. And this is the first key to kind of overcoming being a gifted kid, is having this growth mentality, right? Realizing that if you're not good at something on the first try, that's okay. So the way that we can get around this is by noticing when you're adopting a fixed mindset. If you're not good at something on the first try, that's okay. Remember, it's okay to be average. And the thing is, you are probably going to be average at most things that you try. And keeping that in mind and having that as a core principle that you kind of keep in mind whenever you go forward. You aren't special. It isn't just innate talent that moves you forward. It is hard work and discipline that is able to push you forward. And this kind of drives us into our next point, which is hard work matters more than talent. A lot of the most successful people out there, people who are CEOs, entrepreneurs, all of these people will emphasize hard work over everything else. And this is something that's incredibly difficult for gifted kids to understand, again, because think about how they were conditioned, right? They were conditioned to think that, okay, if I just show up, I should be able to get wherever I want to go. And if on my first try, I'm not the best at something, that means I'm never going to be good at it, right? As a gifted kid, what you have to understand is you will be average at most things. You will not be that much better than most people. Just because you are slightly smarter than the average person does not mean you will be more successful by default. Everyone, it does not matter who they are, have to put in extremely long hours and lots of hard work in. You are not special and you are not unique. You are average just like everyone else in most areas of life. And accepting that is the first step in order to becoming actually more successful and more than average. Because once you accept that you won't just innately be good at everything, that you won't be able to just get by without hard work, you'll be able to actually put in the hard work that you need in order to succeed. There's another big problem too that comes with this lack of hard work and this belief that if you just show up, you'll be able to do well and that things come to you easily in life. And this is a lack of purpose. A lack of purpose stems from not having to ever overcome lots of adversity or face obstacles, or more importantly, in the gifted kid's case, not knowing how to deal with adversity and hardship. The thing is, adversity and hardship is what gives us purpose in life, right? Whenever we deal with really difficult things, if we're able to overcome extremely hard obstacles in order to get the goals that we want, that's where we feel a sense of purpose, a feeling of drive and meaning and motivation. A lot of the biggest joys that human beings get is from solving problems and overcoming things that they never thought they would be able to overcome. For gifted kids, they never really have to go through this, right? When they're growing up, again, they just show up, they do really well. They get lots of praise, lots of recognition just for being themselves and never get any of it from working hard. And this leads gifted kids to get this feeling of kind of existential dread and meaninglessness and purposelessness. A lot of gifted kids fall deep into nihilism because the thing is, again, when you don't have to work hard and you don't have challenges and obstacles in your way, you can't derive any meaning or purpose from life because you need challenges, you need obstacles to overcome in order to feel a feeling of progress and growth, right? And then when the gifted kids do eventually hit obstacles and hardships, they feel overwhelmed by them because again, they've never had to overcome challenges or obstacles in order to do well in life. So there's kind of two difficult spots that gifted kids end up at, right? Either A, they don't have enough problems to solve or they never have to overcome anything because just being themselves is enough, or number two, when they actually do finally face an obstacle in their life, it's usually so much later on in life than most other people around them that are their age that they don't have any idea how to handle or tackle these basic problems that they're facing, and everyone else around them seems to have it figured out. And again, because of that toxic fixed mindset mentality, they don't even realize that they can overcome obstacles with effort, right? They've been conditioned their whole lives to believe that obstacles must just be overcome through raw talent and ability. If you can't overcome an obstacle, that just means that you're a failure. And if all of this wasn't enough, the kind of cherry on top that makes things super hard, extremely high expectations, because high expectations destroy confidence. Again, the gifted kid growing up can meet everyone's high expectations, right? They're able to do super well. They're constantly impressing people. They're getting praise and recognition everywhere. And then all of a sudden they go from being the smart kid to being the kid who's failing their English class, right? This is extremely demoralizing and confusing for the gifted kid, right? Because their whole life, again, they've had this toxic mindset, this mindset of, oh, if I just show up, I'm going to do super well. And now they have the same expectations, but none of the tools that they need in order to actually face and meet those expectations, right? Everyone's always telling them you're going to do great things when you get older. You're going to be super successful, all of this stuff. And that stuff starts to get scary when you're at a place where you're doing less than average because you don't have the kind of tools and skill sets that you need in order to get better. However, if we look at our friendships and our relationships, this can be one of the places where you actually start to grow and fix some of these patterns. Because if you can learn from other people, this will start to fix a lot of your problems. The thing is with gifted kids, again, because of the same mentality that we've been talking about the whole video, right? They feel like they're just naturally good at stuff. They don't really feel the need to listen to other people or take other people's advice, right? Again, because from the gifted kid's point of view, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you listen to other people? Because it doesn't matter what advice there is because there's no room to grow. You just are good at something or you're not. But learning to and listening from other people who are in the positions that you want to be is one of the most helpful things that you can do. If you actually talk to other people, let yourself be a little bit humbled and take advice from other people. Ask other people, how did they get ahead in life? What are they doing that's helping them be so successful? Learning from other people can be one of the best things that gifted kids can do because for a lot of their life, they haven't really learned from other people. They've just kind of done what they thought they were supposed to do. In addition to what we talked about earlier in the video, which is adopting a growth mindset and accepting that you're going to be mediocre. At the end of the day, that is kind of key. is accepting that you aren't special and you aren't great just for existing, right? You have to work hard, and that's not a bad thing. Having to work hard, struggling to understand something is actually what's going to get you a lot of the purpose that you've been lacking. It'll help you find friends and mentors who can help make you grow and help improve your relationships with other people. And it can help get you the actual success that you want in order to align with the potential that you can achieve if you learn these kind of soft skills of working hard. And it will be difficult at first, but eventually it will be worth it. So I hope that this video helps. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.